All right, so here begins the big bad 7.1. So, what up to now, I've given you a strategy. When you have x squared and x to the first with an equal sign, you know that. Get a 0, factor, each part equals 0, and solve it, right? You know that. But now I want to add to it. Well, I think you've seen this as well, but I just want to remind you. And no x to the first with an equals. What if you have x squared and no, like that's what we have here, huh? See how there's not an x to the first power? See how we just have an x squared and then plain numbers? We don't have any x to the first power. So there's something easier you can do. You don't have to do the whole give a 0 factor. You have to do that when you have x squared and regular x. But if you just have x squared and no regular x, there's something easier. Does anybody remember what you do there? You can just get x squared alone and root and plus or minus root. Remember that? So it's easier. You don't have to work so hard. If you just have x squared and no x to the first, you can just get x squared alone and root and plus and minus root the two sides. So let's do that. So I'm just gonna look here and go, look, I just have x squared. I don't have x to the first. So just jump this over. And then, how do you get x squared alone? Divide by the 5. Seven fifths. Okay, what do we do now to finish solving for x squared? So you get x squared alone, and then put a root over one side and plus. Remember the plus or minus, super important, right? Remember I roof on the house, up and down the ladder. Dorky saying to help you remember that. So this cancels, plus or minus. Now, square root that's over a whole fraction like that, that's on the top and on the bottom, isn't it? And can we leave square roots on the bottom? No, we can never leave roots on the bottom. So what do? Top and bottom by root 5. Remember that? So that's going to become root 35, 5 times 7, insider with insider. What happens on the bottom? What's root 5? Root 5? Plain 5. Remember 2 5s in, 1 5 out? There's our final answer. Plus or minus. It's actually two answers, huh? Plus or minus root 35 over 5. How are we doing after 2 hours of me talking math at you? Can I cancel those? Different worlds, exactly. Insider, outsider. So I can't. Normally 5 would go into 35, but different worlds, right? You guys taking scheduling's coming out, so you taking math over the summer? My pass rates are actually higher. I think all people's pass rates are higher. Is there something nice about summer? You just boom. Although there's something painful about summer. I was just thinking of the 2-hour lecture. A lot of times they're all 2-hour lectures in the summer, 2.5 hour lectures because everything's compressed. But pass rates are nice. Some ways it's nice. Take science or math and you just do it night and day. You can't hardly forget the stuff because you've been doing it all week. Anyway, let's try the same strategy on this one that we just did on the last one. Now, so I'm not going to FOIL that out. I'm not going to write 2x plus 3s. I could, but that'd be a pain. Instead, just get rid of that square. How did we get rid of the square here? I rooted it and it canceled, huh? So when you see a 2 power, you just think, hey, root it, and it just cancels exactly. So just come back here and just root it. When you put a roof on the house, up and down the ladder, plus and minus, over there, right? The rooting cancels squaring. Plus or minus, what's the square root of 1? 1. Everybody good so far? See how the root canceled the 2 power? So that's how you want to think in this section. It's what we'll do a lot of on Wednesday. Roots and 2 powers are opposites. We've been talking about that for a while, huh? We're really going to go crazy with it on Wednesday. So now, do you realize, how do we finish this? This is two different equations. This is x plus 3 is positive 1, or x plus 3 is negative 1, isn't it? It's two separate equations, plus or minus 1 breaks into plus 1 minus 1. And then we can just finish them up. So how do we finish them up? Subtract 3. That'd be negative 2. Subtract 3. Negative 4. So there's our two answers. How do they want you to give it? With a comma. Negative 2, negative 4. Separated by a comma. How are we doing? Is that making sense what I did there? Hey, by the way, look back and check that for a minute. Here was the original equation. Is it really right? I mean, if I go back and I put in negative 2 there, does that really make the original true? What is negative 2 plus 3? 1. Squared, is that 1? Yeah. See how that works? Now, how about the other answer? How about if I put in negative 4? What's negative 4 plus 3? Negative 1. Squared, negative 1 times negative 1? Yeah, look at that. It's like it knew what to do because we're using logic. It's the elegance and the power of logic. Okay, so try it out. Same kind of thing. How are you going to get rid of that 2 power? Root both sides, but you got to be plus or minus on the right side and then break it into two equations. Because there will be two options. So get rid of that 2 power, square root, plus or minus, huh? When you put a roof on the house, up and down the ladder, rooting cancels squaring. So we get then just plain x minus 2 plus minus. What's square root of 49? 7. So now break that into two equations. X minus 2 is positive 7, and x minus 2 is negative 7, huh? Positive 7, negative 7. We good there? And now finish it up. Add 2 to both sides. 9, add 2 to both sides. What's that? Negative 5. So the answers are 9 and negative 5. Either order. Just want you to put a comma around them. You could check them. They both work in the original. If you put in 9, 9 minus 2 would be 7. Squared is 49. Or negative 5 minus 2 is negative 7. Squared is also 49. They both work.